Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're really setting the stage for an elite masterclass on human biology. We're going to explore a truly paradigm-shifting concept, how the microscopic bacteria living inside your gut completely dictate your macro whole-body health, especially in our modern era of ultra-processed diets and constant chronic stress. We're moving far beyond your standard surface-level wellness advice here. Instead, we're diving deep into the evidence-based science of micromental health, healthy aging, and cognitive optimization. So get ready to start understanding your body as one highly interconnected ecosystem.
Okay, let's jump right in with a question that might actually challenge everything you thought you knew. What if dietary fiber isn't meant for your digestion, but is actually fuel for your brain? For decades, we've treated fiber as just a mechanical tool, right? Just roughage to keep you regular. But modern microbiome research reveals that this is a massive misconception. If you're struggling with brain fog, fragmented sleep, or metabolic slowness, the root cause might literally lie in how you are or aren't fueling the trillions of microbes residing in your digestive tract. Especially in our modern food environment, where nutrient-stripped diets leave these microbes absolutely starving, understanding this biological connection is more critical now than it has ever been.
So here is our roadmap for today. 1. The microbiome fuel paradox. 2. Short-chain fatty acids explained. 3. The gut-brain axis revealed. 4. Metabolism and Oedipus tissue. 5. Managing IBS and sensitivities. And finally, 6. The prebiotic implementation protocol.
Section 1. The microbiome fuel paradox.
Let's start with the foundational science of our digestion and the modern crisis of dysbiosis, which is an imbalance in our gut bacteria that's driving so many of our modern health issues. Here is the wild paradox. Human enzymes actually cannot break down these complex fibers. When you consume something like inulin or arabinogalactan, your salivary and small intestinal enzymes are essentially blind to them. They just pass right on by. Instead, these fibers survive the long journey down to your large intestine, specifically to feed your bacterial colonies. Fiber isn't just waste passing through. Think of it more like a complex chemical instruction manual for your bacteria. It is the fundamental fuel required to maintain a thriving internal ecosystem and stave off systemic inflammation.
Section 2. Short-chain fatty acids explained.
Now, what's really fascinating is what happens down at the cellular level when those bacteria actually consume the fiber. When your gut microbiota ferments these indigestible fibers, they produce these incredible little molecules called short-chain fatty acids, or SCFAs. The real heavy hitters here are acetate, propionate, and butyrate. Butyrate in particular is an absolute biological superstar. It serves as the primary energy source for the cells lining your colon. Without butyrate, those cells literally starve, your gut barrier weakens, and your body's first line of immune defense is totally compromised. These SCFAs are, without exaggeration, the literal currency of gut health.
And this brings us to a crucial piece of vocabulary for our explainer today: postbiotics. We've all heard of probiotics, right? The bacteria themselves. And prebiotics, the fiber that feeds them. But postbiotics are the beneficial bioactive compounds, like those SCFAs we just talked about, that the microbes actually produce. The true magic of the microbiome lies right here, in these chemical byproducts that interact directly with human biology to modulate everything from our immune responses to our daily energy levels.
Section 3. The gut-brain axis revealed.
The crucial point here is that these short-chain fatty acids don't just hang out in the gut, they migrate out and directly impact the brain. This is the microbiota gut-brain axis. It's a highly interconnected, two-way communication network between your gastrointestinal microbes and your central nervous system. This completely shifts how we view mental health and cognitive endurance. Your micro-mental health, your emotional resilience, and your capacity to engage your attention networks and block out all those modern digital distractions, they are intrinsically tied to your digestive health. Simply put, if your gut is inflamed, your brain is distracted. Let's actually look at how this builds biologically. How do these SCFAs actually upgrade your brain's hardware? First off, they physically cross the blood-brain barrier. Once they get there, they upregulate the tight junction proteins, quite literally fortifying the barrier that protects your brain from toxins. They also regulate microglial activation, reducing the neuroinflammation that causes that awful brain fog we all hate. Even more amazingly, they boost neurotrophic factors like BDNF and GDNF. These are proteins that are absolutely essential for memory and neuroplasticity. Finally, they modulate the synthesis of crucial neurotransmitters like serotonin, dopamine, and GABA. This right here is the very biochemistry of deep work and focus.
But the communication isn't just chemical, it's physical too. The vagus nerve acts as a massive biological superhighway connecting your gut directly up to your brain. To put the sheer scale of this into perspective, an astonishing 90 to 95% of your body's serotonin is produced right there in the gut, making this nerve highway incredibly vital. Changes in the activity of your enteric nervous system, which is driven by your gut bacteria, are picked up by the vagus nerve. This is exactly how gut bacteria send emotional, stress, and satiety signals straight to your brain. When you optimize your gut, you are literally sending a signal of safety and calm right up the vagus nerve, lowering your cortisol and optimizing your sleep architecture. It's truly amazing.
Section 4. Metabolism and adipose tissue. Let's pivot over to the metabolic system to see how this same bacterial communication directly dictates fat storage and whole body inflammation. This brilliantly illustrates the stark contrast between health and disease. On one side, we have eubiosis, a thriving microbiome fueled by diverse fibers, producing high SCFAs, maintaining a strong gut barrier, and supporting healthy fat tissue. On the flip side, we have dysbiosis, a broken microbiome totally starved of fiber. Without fuel, the gut barrier becomes leaky. This allows lipopolysaccharides, or LPS, which are actual bacterial toxins, to escape directly into your bloodstream. This LPS translocation triggers a hyperactive immune response, systemic inflammation, and eventually insulin resistance. It basically hits the fast-forward button on your biological aging.
Section 5. Managing IBS and sensitivities.
Now, we need to ground all this dense biochemical science into some real-world applications, especially for those suffering from gastrointestinal disorders. If you have a sensitive gut, blindly eating more fiber can actually cause severe distress. So here is a breakdown of functional fibers. Psyllium husk is highly viscous and minimally fermented. It forms a thick gel, making it the absolute gold standard for managing both constipation and diarrhea. Acacia fiber, on the other hand, is non-viscous and ferments very slowly, making it incredibly gentle for sensitive individuals who want to reinforce their intestinal barrier without all the gas. Inulin is highly fermentable, which is excellent for feeding beneficial bifidobacteria, but it has to be dosed super carefully. Matching the specific fiber to your exact biology is an absolute must.
Synthesizing the latest clinical guidelines from gastroenterology societies, we see a huge shift toward a targeted, multimodal treatment approach. Doctors are now utilizing the Rome-4 criteria for a confident positive diagnosis. Management includes identifying specific subtypes, like constipation or diarrhea predominant. A temporary low FODMAP diet is often used to identify specific food triggers. Then, highly tolerable soluble fibers like partially hydrolyzed guar gum, or PHG, are introduced. Notably, guidelines now heavily endorse gut-directed psychotherapies too, which perfectly highlights how modern gastroenterology is finally acknowledging the profound power of that gut-brain axis we discussed earlier.
Section 6. The Prebiotic Implementation Protocol.
Let's transition into some actionable takeaways. I'm going to teach you exactly how to implement these findings to optimize your health span without causing digestive distress. Listen, you cannot transform your microbiome overnight. It requires a gentle 3-week adaptation period. Rushing this process in an already inflamed modern American digestive system is exactly what leads to the pervasive myth that fiber is bad for me. In week 1, introduce just 3 to 5 grams of a targeted supplement accompanied by plenty of water. In week 2, slightly increase the dose to 5 to 7 grams, perhaps splitting it between morning and evening. By week 3 and beyond, you can target 10 grams or more in split doses. This slow ramp-up gives your bacterial colonies time to adjust and expand their capacity to ferment fuel, which drastically reduces the risk of uncomfortable gas or bloating.
Think of this as your practical toolkit for biological health optimization. You've totally got this. Step 1. Always prioritize real, whole foods first. We're talking berries, legumes, seeds. Use supplements just to bridge the gap. Step 2, like we just saw, start with a tiny 3-gram dose to ease into it. Step 3 is non-negotiable. Drink at least 2 liters of water daily, especially with those gel-forming fibers, to ensure proper motility. And Step 4, practice intuitive eating by matching the specific fiber type to your exact bodily response and your personal digestive goals.
25, that is the number you really need to remember here. 25 grams is the absolute minimum daily target required to bridge the nutritional gap and effectively fuel your microbiome. Hitting this target consistently is what separates merely surviving from actually thriving. It's the baseline required to generate those neuroprotective SCFAs, secure your gut barrier, stabilize your sleep architecture, and ensure lifelong vitality and deep cognitive capacity in a world that is just full of modern distractions.
I want to leave you with this provocative thought as you prepare your next meal. Are you merely feeding yourself just to satisfy hunger, or are you consciously fueling the trillions of microbes that literally control your brain function, your metabolic speed, and your ultimate lifespan?
Every single bite is an opportunity to rewrite the chemical instruction manual of your body. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, stay curious, and let's start fueling your ecosystem.